Over to Newcastle. Newcastle are not in a position to offer Alexander Isak a new contract. Is that concerning and also pretty hard to believe?
Well, I don't know where that would have come from. I mean, I'm sure they can offer him a new contract, but then again, they're going to have to balance their PSR. It's not a lack of resources, it's a case of not being able to spend. Newcastle have got to do better at getting their commercial income up so they can try and improve that ability in terms of the football budget. And that's something they've got to work on harder. As I've said, I'm surprised they haven't done more commercial deals with some of the PIF companies that they have investments in. The PIF have investments in some of the biggest companies in the world, and I'd have thought there would have been some creative ways to have done something there, or in other sort of charitable situations to get sponsors in with the education programs in Saudi or other clever things, but hasn't happened. So it's only the PSR situation, as I understand it, that's stopping any major deal. I think Isaac would be one of those, though, that they want to keep, and I think they'd rather sell and keep him rather than selling him. He's a quality player, and he's been coming good in the last few weeks again. So I think they'll find a way.
And PIF, as you mentioned, are now in preliminary talks to take over the Qatari state-funded broadcaster BEIN Sports. What would that mean for Newcastle in terms of sponsorship dollars?
Don't think it means anything at all, really, for Newcastle. What it will mean, I mean, beIN Sports do have the Premier League rights for that region. And so that's really the money that comes back into the Premier League, and then Newcastle get their share of the Premier League income. So I don't think the beIN Sports deal has any direct impact on Newcastle at all. It just is good to see a consolidation within that region. Hopefully, peace breaking out again between Saudi and Qatar. It does give the Saudis now a real major pawn in the broadcasting game, which is what they've been missing for a long time. It would seem to be a sign that they're trying to put together that broadcasting group before the World Cup in 2034. And so you can see that the strategic reason for doing it. But as I say, it doesn't have any direct bearing on Newcastle, certainly not at the moment. But it does on the Premier League that they'll have an even bigger broadcasting group to look at carrying on buying the Premier League rights in the region.
And we spoke previously about PIF investing in academies in Saudi Arabia and developing some of the best Saudi talent. But now there's rumors of them putting a pretty big amount of money into the Newcastle Academy. Would this be a smart move, considering that that investment actually does not affect PSR?
Well, it's going to be good for Newcastle in terms of, we all hope that those clubs, and this is something I was having a debate with someone the other day, is saying, look, it may get to the stage soon where some of these clubs become so rich that money no longer matters. And it's going to be about what you do in terms of data, in terms of academies, all those sort of things that really, money can't really make a big difference on. Those are the things we're going to go back to in terms of excellence of execution. So having a great academy, a great scouting system, great data, all those sort of things that Paul Mitchell's got to put in place, that's what we've got to have. And so clubs should be competing on those points of excellence rather than just on their checkbooks, which I think we're starting to slowly get towards, which is great and refreshing. So I think it is good for Newcastle. They're going to need a new facility. I think just what they've done with the present one has been okay, but it's been a band-aid. But they're going to have to build a new one if they really want to excel and put one of the best academies together in the UK. If they can do something as good as the Aston Villa one or even the Everton one, Spurs, those are the ones you're going to be looking at as models. And Newcastle need to do something special to make a big quantum leap on the academy side. And hopefully that becomes part of a major redevelopment that would be the academy. And then we've got the whole St. James's Park situation to be resolved as well in the next couple of months.
And can we see Newcastle kind of follow the model that Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal have been doing over the past 12, 18 months of bringing some of England's best youth talent into their academy at ages 14, 15, and 16?
Yes, I think you could. And let's never forget that Newcastle itself, that northeast region, is one of the most fertile areas for young talent anyway in that region itself. But certainly, I think Newcastle would be an attractive place to come to. The distractions perhaps aren't quite as bad as they could be in London or in Manchester. And I think it's a great place to live. It's a great lifestyle up there. And so I think it would be a sensible way to go. But that's what Paul Mitchell has briefed with. and that's what he's going to have to deliver. They're also going to need a new CEO at some stage to take that lead and support the football side with that. And then we've got to see the PIF come together and invest in those sort of things, which they can do, as you say, without affecting PSR. So I would hope that we would see a really big, innovative plan from Newcastle that might blow some people away, and it would be a very attractive option for some young talent.